Good morning. Look at what all the pounding did the last few days, the last 2 weeks almost. All of this organic debris, pulverized, pasted, piled up, and the water is basically up to the pier there. Let's go over and check that out. Nature takes its course. And we continue reading from Genesis. Those foundational impressions, deeply imprinted in memory, in human memory, and how the believer is reading creation, reading the presence of God, reading human behavior, in the midst of ancient telling. And we're in chapter 6 today of Genesis, the story of the flood. Water is such a blessing for life. But water also kills, as many a sailor knows. The catastrophes of flooding, a broken dam, look at the way this stormy days have left their trace here on this little walkway. The great statements from this story is, first of all, how much corruption and evil can be present in human hearts and human society. That God, who in His love created the whole world, regrets having created it. But it takes a while for the human being to learn God's method, that God's method is not destruction. God's method is redemption. And the whole biblical story from the beginning to the end is always carried by those who want to be in dialogue with God, to listen to God, to receive His covenant, to be a partner with God. And so Noah isn't just anybody by chance. Joe is somebody whose heart is open, who is receiving the invitation from God. This whole principle is very important for those who feel very discouraged through a lot of problematic behavior around us, a lot of decadence, a lot of breakdown. Not to give in to negativity. Are you getting seasick? Not to give in to negativity. This is one of the big messages of Noah's Ark, God has a plan of redemption. And it also touches a theme that we're very sensitive today, the theme of nature and conserving species when species are endangered. Recognizing the great richness in every creature, every element of nature that God has created. And so many efforts are made today around the world to protect species, like Noah did. But above all, it's the protection of the human being, the human family. No matter how much corruption, how much decay, how much evil. And this is a message we all need. We don't have to go with the tide, we don't have to go with the flow. We can have the courage to do something different. The courage to resist the overall tones and political correctness. And if we look down through the ages, it's always been like that. Even through the history of the church itself, great moments of waves of decadence. Thriving monasteries failed. Time of Francis of Assisi. It was wonderful trade with the East, great wealth poured into Europe. And that affected also even the lives of the monasteries, the leaders in the church. The time of the Reformation. There's even a story of a monastery very close to where I was born in the Burn, and how the monks refused a visitation of superiors because they were living a lifestyle that wasn't according to monastic life, and they barricaded themselves up in their monastery. And loaded the place with food, and they resisted the visitation, the fraternal correction. But then the monastery became a ruin eventually because it lost its substance. When the salt loses its taste, it's trampled underfoot. So we can have courage to be what we're called to be. The Lord will bless his people with peace. You see a little work going on here for access for this property just north of us here in Magdala. Give to the Lord, you sons of God, give to the Lord glory and praise. The Lord will bless his people with peace. The voice of the Lord is over the waters. The voice of the Lord is mighty. The voice of the Lord is majestic. And Jesus asks his own disciples in today's gospel to use their reason. Think, man, think. Think. And thinking for this story today is to check out what God is doing in the world. Check out the wonders that have happened in their lives, the multiplication of the loaves. It's a battle about signs in this chapter of Mark's Gospel. Looking for signs and then not accepting the signs. And the disciples have a hard time also entering into the logic of Jesus. It's a new logic, a logic of faith, for which our reason is deeply commanded. Then to start reasoning by faith. Our reason isn't blotted out with our faith. I find these words very strong at the end. Do you still not understand? And that comes up earlier. Do you not yet understand or comprehend? Are your hearts hardened? Do you not have eyes and ears? We have so much science today about nature, about life, and also so many real miracles. To be alert and to use our talents to notice God's presence. To lift up our eyes and our heart. Well, this is always the struggle in society, everywhere, always, from age to age. It's the great dialogue of faith and reason, the encounter of the believer and the atheist. This encounter of the waves in culture and history. Let us grow strong in confidence and faith and hope. God bless you from the Sea of Galilee this morning. See you later, alligators.